Hello everybody, my name is Aga. Welcome to another Facebook Live session for In This Place. These sessions are all about music fusing with dance. East meets West, the fusion of perspectives and experiences and mediums, and making new experiences out of mixing the two. On the Facebook Live sessions, we are mainly focused on music, but there is some movement towards the end of the session, so I'll pass on to Jack at that point. But in these sessions, I'm looking at the fusion of what we call crudely Eastern music and what we call crudely Western music, and how they combine together, and different people from both traditions look at them and explore them anew. Okay, the important thing is that we have fun with this. We explore our voices, we explore our bodies, and really enjoy how music mixes together with different styles. So in today's session, we're going to do a quick warm-up. Moderately sized warm-up. And then after the warm-up, I'm going to teach you a nice little warm-up song to just get ourselves in the right mood. And then we're going to look at some Bizet, and then we're going to look at some more popular, more current music. Not as current as this century, but fairly current. And I'm not going to tell you who these people are because that will give the game away. Okay, so let's start with a quick warm-up. Let's get ourselves... I'm going to start the warm-up sat down, actually. Here we go. And how's it gonna? Clap with me. Clap. Good. How's it gonna? Clap with me. Clap. Good. How's it gonna? Clap with me. Clap. How's it gonna? Clap with me. Ha ha ha. And fingers, stretch your fingers. Use the camera if you like. Use the camera. And stretch your fingers. Use the camera. Use the camera, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. And relax. Stretch your fingers. And relax. What I want you to do is tap your legs nice and gently. Nice and gently. Don't hurt yourselves. Tap your legs. Very good, very good. Gently tap your chest. Don't hurt yourself. Tap your arms like this. Very good, very good, very good. Tap your other arm like this. Very good, very good. Give yourself, give yourself some love. So a nice little massage, just a nice, don't hurt yourself, don't hurt yourself. Just make sure your shoulders are lovely and relaxed. And what I want you to do is gently rub your face. And rub your forehead like this. Make sure everything is really nice and relaxed. It's beautiful, beautifully done, beautifully done. And could you please give a big yawn? That's pretty good. That's really good. Relatively, I think you do better. And a bigger yawn. That's very good. That's very good. I think you do even better. And a bigger yawn. Very good. And if you want to be stand up, you can just shake everything. Very good. Very good. And faces. Smiley face. Sad face. Shocked face. Angry face. Scared face. Confused face. Confident face. Bouncer face. You're not coming in. Scared little boy in the corner face. Confident, knowing young lady face. I know the answers. And some animals. Deer face. Squirrel face. And last but not least, hedgehog face. I don't know how to do the hedgehog face. I don't know how it works. Okay, you have to be creative here. This is a creative space. Safe space, so no judgment, please. Thank you. Very good. Very good. Okay, breathing. We're going to breathe in for 4, out for 4. As per usual, shoulders relaxed, back straight. Do not raise your shoulders as you are breathing in. Breathe in as quietly as possible. This is really important because if you've got good posture, you should be breathing in as quietly as possible. Okay, I want to show you a bit more Streetwise. Let's show a bit more of the top, a bit more advertising, please. In for 4, out for 4. Okay, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3. Quicker, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As we usually do. In for 8, out for R. There is no right or wrong in terms of the note. But I'm going to play your rag. You remember last week we talked about Indian rags. Indian rags are Indian scales. Usually they're like thousands of years old, and they're usually specified to a place and a time of day, and you spend years and years learning them. And because we're talking about the fusing of Eastern music and Western music, we've created our own rag. And our rag goes like this. Note number 1, ah. Number 2, ah. Number 3, ah. Number 4, ah. Number 5, ah. I can't count. I can play rags, but I can't count. So, I'm going to play the notes in your rag as you do the breathing exercise. So you're going to breathe in for a quicker 8. And then out for R. It doesn't matter what note comes out for your R, but it's just about expressing yourself. And make sure your shoulders nice and relaxed as you... Oh, can you hear that rag? Can you hear the sounds of that rag? Oh, it's relaxing me. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Here we go. In for 8, out for R. And breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 2 more. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last time. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just for that. Beautiful. And now our warm-up song. Because one of our main pieces that we're going to focus on is centered around water, I thought we'd do this warm-up song. And it's called Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie. Shall we go through the words? Repeat after me. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Every little once in a while. Very good. First bit goes like this. Repeat after me. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Have a go. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Next bit goes. Bring me a little water now. Have a go. Bring me a little water now. The next bit goes. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Have a go. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Go. Every little once in together, yeah? Let's sing together. Here we go. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. And again, nice. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Yeah. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. So there's a harmony line. You can sing whatever you like. You can sing the tune, you can sing the harmony line. But I'm going to sing the harmony line a couple of times just so that it's in your head. And if you want to sing it, you can have a go. So it goes. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. And again. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Now sing what you like. Here we go. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. And again. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Last time. Here we go. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. And again. Every little once in a while. Go. Every little once in a while. Wave your hands. Every little once in a while. Yeah, like every little once in a while. Go. Every little once in a while. Every little once in a while. Last time. Every little once in a while. Well done, everyone. Well done. Are we all warmed up? Can we do another big yawn? Can you do a big yawn? Oh, we've just warmed up. Sylvie's just got in the water. She's just got in the water. We're very thankful for Sylvie for getting the water. So as I said, the link between Sylvie and what we're about to do in the main activities is water. Okay, so we're going to do some Bizet. Bizet is famous opera composer. The most famous Bizet opera is Carmen. Beautiful. I should have been leading the dancing sessions. Pearl Fishers is another Bizet opera, less famous than Carmen, but still fairly famous. It's got a very famous duet, which we're not focused on, because we're focused on the fusion of Eastern and Western music. And I found this beautiful little snippet of an aria that really focuses on things that we've been talking about. Specifically, Indian music uses a lot of one of the things when we're talking about rags and we're talking about scales. Again, here's your rag: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The most pure thing, you said, in Indian classical music is the voice. All other instruments are trying to imitate the voice. So when you hear a sitar, the sitar is trying to get to the purity of the voice. When you hear a wind instrument, it's trying to get to the purity of the voice. That's the most pure sound there is. And there is something very personal and very spiritual about one's own voice or hearing anybody else's voice. But that's what we're aiming for, the voice. And in a lot of Indian music, you get these beautiful little inflections. We talked about when we were writing rags. Rags aren't just notes. how you play them, how you sing them really matters. So when you composed very recently, number 5, you made a nice little, so you don't just sing the note, you have a nice vibrato on it, a nice wobble. Can we do that? Can you have a go? 2, 3, 4. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very nice. That beautiful inflection is the words that I'm using, but it's basically decoration is a bit more of a normal word for it. The decoration of what your voice is doing, or the voice sound that you're making. So it could be on an instrument. I could make this sound like a voice. Is a real big part of Indian classical music, and people have taken from that when they're exploring this out. They've taken that use of the sound of the voice. So I found this beautiful aria from Bizet's Pearl Fishers. The opera is called The Pearl Fishers. It's very much a sort of love triangle type opera set in Sri Lanka, which is obviously not India. It's an island south of India. I should say the music of southern India and Sri Lanka is a little bit different and distinct from what we focused on. Is much more northern Indian classical music. I should make this point right now before somebody emails in. Okay, I know this. Okay, so there is a difference between southern Indian music and Sri Lankan music, classical music, and the northern Indian music, which is much more the rags that we've been focused on. But the use of the voice is something that's common to both. And so you've got this beautiful aria that uses some of these little inflections in the voice. Let's have a little look at the words of the rag, and then we can focus on all the inflections. Repeat after me. The words are up. I saw in the deep blue water. I saw in the deep blue water. At the bottom of the silent lake. At the bottom of the silent lake. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleeping flower sparkling. This is so this aria, the relationship that this character, is male character here, this character is loved with someone that who he's not allowed to love. Okay, this relationship is not allowed to happen. We have all been there. We're not going to go into it now. We haven't got time. This is only an hour. We haven't got time to go into all that. Okay. So it's forbidden by which a lot of arias and a lot of love songs, frankly, pop songs are about that sort of thing. Okay. So when we saw it, I saw in the deep blue water. Can we have a look at the water? Can you look? I saw in the deep blue water. Can you look in the water? I saw in the deep blue water. And point at the bottom of the silent lake. Go. At the bottom of the silent lake. Good. The merry and sweet eyes of my friend. The merry and sweet eyes of my friend. Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleeping flower sparkling. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So looking into the water. Look back, sweet eyes of my friend, sleeping flower sparkling, sleeping flower sparkling. It's beautiful, it's beautiful, forbidden love. And so, going back to the inflection, or decoration is a better word, decoration of the voice, yeah? So your voice is not just singing notes, it's what's going around those core notes that really makes the difference. We're in this key, and I just want you to go Next one, I want you to go. Have a go. And again, the second one. Can you hear that? It's really beautiful. Just do that. Let's go through the words just with those two bits of tune, yeah? I saw in the deep blue water goes, I saw in the deep blue water. Have a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I saw in the deep blue water. And it's an aria. You can take as much time as you like. There's no right or wrong in terms of the timing of this. If you were the opera singer on stage singing this song, the conductor would be following you, so you can really enjoy all the notes. Yeah. I saw in the deep blue water. Have a go. 2, 3, 4. I saw in the deep blue water. Beautiful. That second one that we did. At the bottom of the silent lake. Yeah? At the bottom of the silent lake. Have we go? 2, 3, 4. At the bottom of the silent lake. Good. With the piano. 2, 3, 4. At the bottom of the silent lake. Can we put those two bits together? I saw in the deep blue water at the bottom of the silent lake. 3, 4. I saw in the deep blue water. Nice. At the bottom of the silent lake. Beautiful. Next line. We'll go through the feel of the tune. Almost very similar to what we had before. You start lower though, and you end with that same low note that we didn't have before. So you got la 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 la. Yeah. La 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 la. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. La 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 la. And that's the merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. Have a go. 2, 3, 4. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. With the piano. 2, 3, 4. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. So can you hear that this on the bottom's got a different feel? Yeah, you have this. And this is where it's East meets West. In, strictly speaking, in northern Indian classical music, you would have this drone all the way through the whole thing, and you would improvise with the scale that you had. But in Western music, that bottom note often shifts, yeah? And what we've got, it shifts to a sort of happier thing, isn't it? The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. You can't help but raise your eyebrows. Could you do the merry and the sweet eyes of my friend together? 2, 3, 4. The merry and the sweet eyes of my Last section goes with just the tune. La 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 la. Sleeping flowers sparkling, sparkling. That inflection, that decoration. Sparkling. Have a go. 3, 4. Sparkling. Again, sparkling. Sparkling. So you've got the sleeping flowers sparkling. Have a go. The sleeping flowers sparkling. And then you've got that phrase repeated, the words repeated, but different notes. Sleeping flower sparkling. That's really nice, isn't it? That's beautiful. Sleeping flower. Can you hear that raised note? Flower. Flower. You have to raise your eyebrow. Sleeping flower. 2, 3, 4. Sleeping flower. Good. Sparkling. Sparkling. Can we put those two bits together? Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sleeping flower sparkling. Beautiful, everyone. Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's gorgeous. As I say, if it was, this is a Western composer. This is Bizet, a Western classical composer who's inspired by an Indian story. It's not an Indian story, I should say. A story set in Sri Lanka, I should say. Rephrase what I've just said. A story. He's set a story in Sri Lanka. He's not composed this opera thinking everything's got to sound quote unquote Sri Lankan. He's written it in his own style, but he has little moments in the music that really reflect the country and the culture that he's responding to. You'll notice, because I mentioned Carmen before, you will notice that in music like Carmen, and in general in Spanish music, that sort of all that decoration happens in Spanish music as well. And the link between Sri Lankan, Indian, Spanish music in terms of what that voice does is Arabia. And basically the Arabians travelled in both directions, as is the way with people, okay, and they travelled all the way through Asia to India, and as is the way with cultures, the cultures fused, so you get that which you get in a lot of Arabic music there, and you also get it especially in southern Spain, in flamenco and all that sort of stuff. You also get that inflection. So the Arabian movement is the link between Spanish culture, Carmen, and the Indian subcontinent, pearl fishers. There you go, there's the link. So, let's put all this together. Let's all put all this together. Nice. I saw In the Deep Blue Water. We'll just go with the tune, and then we'll put it together with the piano. I saw in the deep blue water, 2, 3, 4. I saw in the deep blue water. At the bottom of the silent leg. At the bottom of the silent lake. Good. Next bit goes. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friends. Sleeping flowers sparkling. Sleeping flowers sparkling. Again. Sleeping sleeping flower sparkling. Beautiful. Can we put that together with the piano? But I want your actions. I want your actions for our run through. I want your actions. So I want you to imagine. We sang Sylvie, and that was all about water. We're using water as a metaphor in this song, okay? A metaphor for purity. We talked about the purity of the voice. A metaphor for purity. A metaphor for if you looked in the water, yeah, there are things that you can see in the water because it is transparent. There are things you can see in water, but also water can sometimes be a barrier, yeah? Because maybe you're scared of water, maybe you don't want to go in. So you've got this beautiful thing in front of you that can get in the way of a thing that you want. So there's something that you really want in the water. Look at the water in front of you. There's something that you really want in the water. You look forward and you want to take it, but you can't, so you go back. Look forward, you want to take it, you go back. So, action number 1. I saw in the deep blue water. Yeah? With a pointing finger. At the bottom of the silent lake. Yes. Then hands towards your eyes. The merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. Sleep, and then you're amazed at the sleeping flower sparkling. Could we do the action that we did before? Sleeping flower sparkling. Sleeping flower sparkling. Those are your actions, yes? Look in the lake, first line. Pointing, second line. Merry and the sweet eyes of my friend. Sleeping flowers sparkling. Sleeping flowers sparkling. Now there are many things I can do, but what I cannot do is actions and play piano and sing at the same time. So you're going to have to remember your actions. Water, back, point. Water, point. Eyes, sleeping flowers sparkling. Sleeping flowers sparkling. Should we go for a run through? Here we go. The Pearl Fishers, a la Streetwise opera. Here's your introduction. I saw in the deep blue water at the bottom of the silent lake. The merry and the sweet Well done. Can you see that link? So the main link between East and West is the theme of the theme of the whole opera is sort of love and forbidden love, which is universal. That's not an East-West thing. He set it in Sri Lanka, but that's not important. That's not important for exactly musically what's happening. Musically, it's how it's decorated. Can you just do that? Very good. So he's used part of that culture, okay, which actually through Arabic migration has actually spread throughout different parts of the world in different ways and is incorporated in that aria. It's not written as a rag. It's not like, it doesn't do this all the way through. So it hasn't got the drone that goes all the way through, but it has got that feel at the beginning, and it's the decoration that really makes, that takes you somewhere else, okay? And that's the influence of the Pearl Fishers. Beautifully done, as per usual, Streetwise opera. Shall we move on? The next people I've got for you who are influenced by India are the Beatles. In particular, what we've got is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. I think we've got a little picture for you, a picture of the cover. And Beatles, as many of you will know, Beatles went to India and were massively influenced by Indian classical music and incorporated both the sounds of Indian classical music, so they use things like tabla and sitars in their popular music, and also some of the what we would call almost like the sort of philosophical side of the music. What's it all mean? What all these things mean? What's life about? Why is this music composed, and all that sort of stuff. So the spiritual side of music, which is obviously a really important part of a lot of composing, a lot of reason why people compose music, was a huge part of their influence, and it really changed their sound and just mindset. John Lennon being quite an obvious and clear example, that sense of love and peace being spread around the world was very much the message that he was trying to portray throughout much of his life, okay? So we're going to have a little look at within you, without you, yeah, within you, without you. And what I want us to do, there's quite a lot of words at the beginning which I don't want us to do. I want us to get a feel of the rag feel of it at the beginning. So we're just going to la the very beginning, and then I'm going to teach you the end. We're going to jam the la of the beginning as a rag, and then we're going to sing the end. So I'll just teach you the notes at the beginning. Already sounds like a rag, doesn't it? La 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 la. Can you do that? La 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 la. But rather than that, this is a rag. By the way, we're not going to go la la. We're going to slide. La 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 la. Have a go. La 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 la. La 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 la. Do that second bit. La 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 la. Can we put those two bits together? We're just gonna la it. Here's your drone. The very beginning. La la la. La 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 la. Again. La 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 la. La 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 la. And stop. Yeah, so you get the feel. That's gonna be your opening. You remember that. We're gonna come back to it. Here are the words. Yeah. So you've got, when you've seen beyond yourself, then you may find peace of mind is waiting there. And it's very continuous, okay? We are very much jamming and improvising this. So if you don't get the tune exactly, it does not matter. That is not the point of the session. It's so that we get the feel. Can you just do that, just so that we get the sound was in our heads? La 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 la. When you've seen beyond yourself, then good. Have a go. 2, 3, 4. When you've seen beyond yourself, then next bit goes. You may find peace of mind is waiting there. La 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 la. Yeah. You may find peace of mind is waiting there. Have a go. You may find peace of mind is waiting there. Put those two bits together. When you've seen beyond yourself, then you may find peace of mind is waiting there. Have a go. 3, 4. When you've seen beyond yourself, then you may find peace of mind is waiting there. Breathe whatever you like for this, man. Hold the there. Then you've got, and the time will come when you see. Try, have a go. And the time will come when you see. Good. Then it goes. We're all one and life flows on. We're all one, life flows on. We're all one and life flows on. That life is a big leap. And life flows on. It's a lovely interval. We're all one and life flows on. Again. We're all one and life flows on. Good. And last bit. Within you and without you. Within you and without you. Can we go from, and the time will come when you see we're all one and. 2, 3, 4. And the time will come when you see we're all one and life flows on within you and without you. And again, that bit again, nice and slowly. And the time will come when you see we're all one and life flows on within you and without you. Should we put all of it together? And when you sing beyond yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you've seen beyond yourself, then you may find peace of mind is waiting there. Nice. And the time. And the time will come when you see we're all one and life flows on within you and without you. Let's just go. Let's go from the top. Let's go from the top. And we're jamming this, people. You're going to enjoy yourself. I'm not asking. Remember the la from the beginning? Here we go. La 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 again. nice and slow. When we've seen beyond yourself, and you may find peace of mind is waiting there. And the time will come when you see we're all one, and life flows on within you and without you. And again, when you sing beyond yourself, and you may find peace of mind is waiting there. And the time will come when you see we're all one, and life flows on within you and without you. And again, when you sing beyond yourself, and you make me peace of mind is waiting there. And the time will come when you see we're all one, and life flows on within you and without you. Repeat, within you and without you. 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 Breathe in, out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Did you get that feel? That feel of that sense of, firstly, we talked about like the philosophy, that idea of, we talked a bit about the voice being a spiritual thing, and very much you sense the spirituality within the words of that tune, and the way in which it's written. That very much has a feel of a rag, with the sliding and the way it's all spaced out, the way the melody sort of feels like it's looping around. It's almost as though like life goes on, no matter what. The world keeps spinning. You know, whatever we've all got, and we've all got issues. The world keeps spinning. Let's just go. Let's just go for it and enjoy life. You feel that in the music and the way it's written, but that sort of the bottom note really emphasizes the spirituality. And then we've also done the Bizet, which used the vocal inflections. You have been absolutely fantastic. Some excellent acting, some excellent singing, some excellent jamming, some excellent spirituality, some excellent fusing. I'm making up words. Fuseling is my new word. Yeah, it should be fusion, but the fuseling of music is new. I'm putting it in the dictionary. An excellent fusion of music. It's been an absolute pleasure. In this place is so good. The music side of this live broadcast is done. I have to pass over to Jack. See you next week.
Good afternoon, Streetwise performers. I hope you've had a really good session with Aga. And again, like the last Friday and the traditions that we have is you'll have a little bit of movement practice in your Friday sessions. So the time has come to have that movement practice. Like I mentioned last week, I'm going to introduce in these sessions some other ideas that are connected to the work that we're doing with screen dance or dance plus camera. And last week we touched on this idea of specifically some of the principles in screen dance, which was the frame, if you remember. We also had exits and entrances, and we also had this idea of interaction with the camera. Now, for this week's session, I wanted to focus back into our choreographic phrases and our movement phrases. And I wanted to give some ideas and some other movement principles or movement ideas that we can start to inject and decorate our phrases with. Now, this was actually inspired by some questions and some, I guess, some concerns about this idea of freezing or forgetting the movement and freezing, or some people kind of feeling that they're repeating the movement a lot. And actually, it was interesting that these conversations came up because these actually are choreographic tools. And as well as a creative task, which we've been working on, which is the birthday cake, choreographers also use choreographic tools in order to kind of sculpt and to craft a more interesting or more textured dance piece or piece of choreography or movement phrase. So I wanted to introduce with some of these choreographic tools to you in this session. And there's something that you can apply to your phrases if you're already making a phrase with your own recipe, or you can also apply it to the 4 movements that you have from the birthday recipe as well. So one of the first things that I'm going to touch on is this idea of repetition. And some people felt in the Wednesday session that repetition was something that they kind of was like, is this right or is this wrong? And the answer is a choice. If you choose to do it, then it's perfectly valid. And even if you don't choose to do it, the audience will never know. So you're going to get away with it. So repetition is a really powerful tool to imprint or exaggerate a certain gesture. So with my movement phrase, which was stepping in and turning the oven on, if I wanted to add repetition into my phrase, it could change the whole meaning of my movement. If I do this, maybe I could repeat that many times. Maybe I'd repeat the step. Maybe I repeat the step, and then I would just do one of those. So you can see how if I added some steps into the step, that could change the whole meaning. I could also keep going with this feeling for a long time, and I could connect it in a repeating pattern. So that's a really useful tool that you can add in. If it's your chopping, it's already a natural repetition. Chop, 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 chop. And da-da-da-da-da. We can go faster, or we can also change how we chop as well. So the repetition of the movements can be good as a choreographic tool. Also with the stirring, generally these actions are already coming in with this repetition feeling. So repetition is not something to be necessarily afraid of. It's actually something to be embraced if you want to implement that into one of your phrases. The next thing I wanted to add in, which somebody also said that sometimes they said that they're freezing or they're kind of having moments where they're really still. And again, actually stillness is a really powerful movement. It sounds kind of like a contradiction or something that's opposite. How can stillness be a movement? But in all the movement that's going on, to have certain stillness can be really powerful. And whilst we're doing our phrases again, maybe we continue here, we have a repetition here, then we have this action here. Maybe I have stillness, or maybe I look here, stillness. And I can add stillness at different points into my solo. Maybe the beginning starts as stillness, and I step in and I go, shh, freeze, shh, freeze, And these gestures can also be great. Again, in the idea of repetition, we can add a moment of stillness. Could be great. We can have it for the longer. We could have 2. So there we are. Stillness, this has freeze moment is also a great thing to add into your phrases as another choreographic device or tool. Sometimes choreography uses this idea of a choreographic device. The next thing that I'm going to introduce, which you can add in, is this idea of reverse. And you can have a movement which reverses on itself. And the word that choreographers might use for this, if they're working with dancers, they'll say, can you retrograde the movement? Can we take the movement in reverse? So I could have my first gesture here. 1, good. I could also then unwind and step back. And I can do repeat. I could do this. I could also reverse this action. So reversing, and then I could continue, is a really good way to, you can repeat, or you can reverse the movement. And this is a really great way that you can start to add in some interesting tools. We could have a repeat here, freeze, reverse. There we go. So already we're creating a much more interesting and slightly more complex phrase. And they're very simple things that you can just add in at any point, and you don't even have to add any in. And it's the same here with the chopping, simple way. If you're kind of wanting to do a seated version, the chopping, you could go pause, reverse it back. So we can chop in one direction, but we can also chop and reverse backwards. So reverse is another thing that we can add in. And the last thing I wanted to speak about was actually this thing called a space hold. Now, space hold is, sounds like almost like something from a science fiction book or film or something like this, I'm not really sure. But it's really not that scientific at all. What it means is that we hold a certain body part in the space. If you've seen those people in the circuses or the street performers, and they have those balls, and it just looks like the balls floating and they're kind of moving all around this object. And sometimes you could do this. The way I'm moving my arms now kind of gives you that feeling that maybe I'm holding onto a ball or something. Because what I'm doing is I'm holding the space in that area. So I can kind of have this feeling of this ball, which is a kind of invisible ball that I'm holding, which is out of control or whatever. It's kind of all about the control, and you can twist the ball, it's still there, and you still have it. So a space hold is a great choreographic intervention or great choreographic tool. So in the phrase that I'm going to work with, I'm going to try and space hold my, I'll tell you what I'm going to space hold when I do it. So I'm going to do this. I've got my repeats. I've got a freeze. I have this. Reverse. I'm going to hold my head in the exact same space where I finished it. This is my space hold, my head. I'm going to add the waves. The fire, sorry, not the waves. Yeah, it's brilliant. So space hold here, I'm going to hold it. So it's the same thing we can do with the chopping. We can chop and we can hold one hand. We can hold one hand in the space. This hand becomes a space hold. Yeah, so space hold is useful. Another thing a space hold could be is if you had the mixing pot here, you could decide to hold this point and you could walk around it. A space hold is a really useful, sometimes illusion to be working with. Now, all these ideas you can implement into your solos, you don't have to, your movement phrases, but they're also quite interesting things that you can start to add in to add more, I would call, decorative elements. And they're totally kind of free to use at any point in your solos. And also to use them again and again. You can have 5 freezes, you can have 1 freeze, you can use them as many times as you wish. And also something that if you're feeling that you want to expand, and also we saw in the polls that your confidence as a group is really growing. So we wanted to also push you a bit further if people feel that they want to have this opportunity to be pushed, that they can. So just to recap for today, what we're looking at is choreographic tools. And those tools for this week are repetition, which is in the top. Repetition is one tool, so we can repeat one movement or maybe two movements, we can repeat it twice. The second one is this idea of a freeze or a stillness in the phrase. You can add that at the beginning, at the end, at any point. The next thing is retrograde or reverse. So we can have a movement which reverses back in on itself. And the last thing was a space hold, a movement where you can hold part of the body in space and move the rest of the body around it. So they are some of the things that we can add to our solos. If you want to press pause in the session and come back to it, you totally can. And I hope you have fun exploring these choreographic tools within your creative task. I know it's all very technical terms, but yeah, these are choreographic tools for creative tasks. So enjoy and have a great time cooking.